So thank you, families. We're so excited that you're here. We are having promotion parties as we are talking about the students who are especially transitioning to those exciting grade levels. And today we are going to be focusing on 8th grade families and the transition to high school. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Tiffany Benzer to start it off.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. We are first going to try to get a pulse of what information you would like to know as we move into our presentation. And with technical difficulties, it's taking a while for me to get to the next slide, but we did post the link for a Padlet that will give you an opportunity to share what it is that you would like to learn from today's presentation. And if my computer's not moving, sorry. As we wait for my computer to move to the next screen, in the Padlet, there are 2 questions. And the 2 questions are going to be.
I'll read them out for you, Tiffany.
Yes, thank
First
you.
one is, what are your expectations when moving from middle school to high school? And the second one would be, what would you like to learn from today's presentation?
And so they did post the link in the chat. So if everybody could click on that link in the chat, and you will press the plus sign underneath each question on the Padlet. And if you have difficulty getting to the Padlet, you can put your responses in the chat, and I will post the questions in the chat.
Or if you feel comfortable enough, please unmute yourself and definitely share with us what you would like to learn from today's presentation or what you need to know. And
okay, so you can continue as we're presenting to add additional questions or thoughts to there. And like Ms. Tiffany said, if you also feel comfortable with posting it in the chat, you can. And you can also ask questions, unmute yourself and ask questions throughout. So just so you know, this is what we will be discussing today. The first thing we're going to talk about, what's the purpose of this session? And then we're going to give you an understanding, kind of a timeline of what's to come for the next semester of 8th grade. We're going to give you an understanding of your options for enrollment for high school. And then most importantly, we're going to be talking through your understanding of pathways to graduation, because it's time to think about that pathway. And then specifically with 8th grade next steps, okay? And we will also have contact information at the end that will be available for you through the presentation, but then we'll also make sure that you understand how to get to it. So the purpose for today. So truly today's purpose, woo! It's a celebration. It is time to celebrate. Your kiddos are graduating 8th grade and they're moving on to high school, which we know is a key point in every student's academic life. And so we wanted to let you know you're supported, you're not alone, and that the district is really here to ensure that every student can find a successful pathway to graduation. So first, what's to come? So high school is definitely a new adventure. And so when you're talking about it with your students, we're talking about new friends, new teachers. We're talking about new school options that are now open for you. And we're talking about new paths to graduation and starting to think about what they would potentially want a future career to be. And so the timeline. So what to expect in January, February, you're going to be kind of thinking about choosing your course. We will have choice school applications and choice school mini fairs. So these are campuses that have specialized programs that your students may be interested in. We're also going to make sure that you know what your feeder high school option will offer. And then with the 8th grade counselors, your students are going to be working on course scheduling. And with the student, the counselor, and the parent, you're going to have advisement conferences, and there'll be more information about that. In March and April, then, we're going to be encouraging you to then register for school for the upcoming school year in whichever high school you selected, and that will help to guarantee your kids' schedule for 9th grade. And then in May, the focus is really going to be on finishing strong, saying farewell to middle school, and making sure that we end very strongly with attendance and academics. And then July and August and June, I should say that too. It's preparing for high school, getting to know the new high school site, getting to understand your new daily routine, and you can expect to hear from the high school and there will be summer orientation sessions and things like that. And then in August, it will be time for the first day of school. Now, understanding your options for enrollment. What we wanted to let you know is that you do have 3 pathways on this portion to choose. So everybody, if you live in SAISD, your address is zoned to a neighborhood school. So you are guaranteed enrollment in your attendance zone school. But like I said before, we also have lots of choice schools or programs that are specialized models, such as media and film and early college, high school model. You can also choose to do international baccalaureate. You can choose to do automotive tech, all these kinds of specialized programs. And then also, if you're interested in dual language, there's also high schools that have dual language programs if your student is already proficient in Spanish and English. And Miss Esmeralda Alde, who is on here, she's going to post a link in the chat. So that is an additional place that you can learn your options. And then you can also request a transfer. So if you don't want a choice school and you don't want your neighborhood school, you just want another traditional school, we would help you with the transfer process. So what are the different ways that you can get to these pathways? So your neighborhood school, high school, we look at that based on your address, and then registration for that begins in March. You don't have to do anything additional. You just wait until registration starts. And in Frontline, where we're going to be doing registration, it'll already be set for that zoned high school. Now, if you're interested in applying for a choice school, then you do have to submit an application and for the lottery, and that will close on January 29th, and then we'll run the lottery in February. And then if you want a transfer request, you don't have to do anything right now, besides look at the different options and things that you want to do. And the window for that will open at the same time as registration. It'll be all part of the registration piece in Frontline. And again, that will begin in March. So this may sound like a lot, but our team is here to help you talk through all the different options. So we don't mind doing things over the phone. You can start via email, and we also text. So the information is here. And we also offer a service that we call a parent consultation. If you would like to literally sit down via phone or Zoom and talk to one of our enrollment coordinators, where you can tell them what are your child's interests, what are your family's needs, like are there transportation concerns, are there family concerns, things like that. Then we can help identify the best school options for you and tell you if you have to submit an application or submit a transfer request and that kind of stuff. So don't feel like you have to like navigate all of that on your own. The enrollment office is here to help. Okay. So that is all of the enrollment pathways. Just so you know, you've got choices based on what programs and things you're interested in. And in January, February, during the mini fairs and the high school visit, that's when your child is going to start deciding, oh, I like this kind of program, I like that kind of program. And then we'll help you figure out the path. Okay. Now on the academic side, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Tiffany Benson.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. Balmer. As we move forward, we will be speaking about understanding pathways to graduate. And as Dr. Balmer stated, there are many options for our students, and we are super excited to go over all of these options. And these are activities that are also starting to take place with the eighth graders starting now. And we will discuss a little further as we go into our slides. So first and foremost, how do you graduate from high school? Uh, in high school, we focus on credits, right? So, yes, our students will be given schedules, they will be assigned courses, and with that, we have to go through what Texas Education Agency, TEA, also guides us in as far as graduation credits. And so, with that, you'll see on the first graphic here, we earn credits to be promoted to the next level. And then we also have on there for ninth grade to be classified as ninth grade, that's from 0 to 5.5 credits. 10th grade, 6 to 11.5 credits. And so how do you earn credits, right? You take your courses, you pass your courses, which means the next little graphic here, you're going to complete and pass your requirement. So with that, you earn credits. So I pass, let's say I take English 1, I get an 80 in it, I earn 1 credit, I pass that course. That's 1 credit, that's 1 graduation requirement. So that's how we start looking at our courses that we take in high school. Along with that, and per the state of Texas, we also look at STAR EOC exams and passing those exams. So all of that will tie in together with attendance, so making sure that we attend school on a regular basis, right? So that we can get the instruction that then will allow us and have us pass these required EOC exams that are set forth by the state. I know as we go through these slides, this is a lot of information, and if at any time you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We do have our contact information towards the end of the slideshow as well, and please feel free to call and or email us, and we will definitely work with you and your student to answer whatever questions that you may have. And as we move forward, looking a little bit closer at what these credits look like, right? In the state of Texas, we have 3 graduation plans that we speak to our students about. These presentations are also presentations that are starting to take place with our current 8th graders. So each high school, yes, and middle school counselor are working together to make sure that we provide this information to our students so they have a better understanding as they start this amazing opportunity and an exciting time of year, looking at the options that they have available to them and really understanding more about high school and what it is that we are working towards when we look at our graduation programs. We have the foundation program, and so you will notice that for each of these, English, math, science, social studies, PE, foreign language, fine arts, and electives are all going to be part of these plans. So yes, we look at each individual student. We are going to look at goals that students also have, and we know, just like adults, with our students, goals will change, right? And that's part of being a lifelong learner. We're going to start off and we want to continue building on these goals. So looking at the whole child as well, looking at where we are as we start ninth grade and going into our courses, you'll see like English is a requirement for all 4 years of high school. So you will see 4 credits across the board. Foundation program, the foundation plus endorsement, where we're getting a little bit more specialized in thinking of like a major, if you will. So going back to choice schools and even just all the offerings that our high schools have, and we'll get into a little bit of those later on in the slideshow. This is where we offer opportunities to be more focused in a particular area, if you will. So like Miss Alday is on the group with us. So example like dual language. So if our students would like to have a focus with dual language, that That will also earn you an endorsement, and that will take us into our distinguished program plan. And with this, the biggest difference is going to be with math. And really, when we look at all of our students in SISD, we do like for our students to take Algebra 2 because we know that that is going to be a great course for our students to take, especially looking at post-secondary goals. But with that, we know that we have other plans, such as the foundation program, the foundation endorsement program, and then the distinguished, that we can work with our students because everyone is different, right? In terms of their post-secondary goals, whether that's the workforce, whether that is a training program, whether that's military, whether that is going into a 2-year or a 4-year college university. So you will see again some standard courses. Again, these are courses that are set out by the state, not necessarily SAISD, in terms of the requirements for graduation. So that will be English, math, science, social studies, PE, foreign language, a minimum of 2 years, and the foreign language offerings will be different on our campuses. And that's the beauty of when our campuses start having endorsement conferences, you have an opportunity as a student and parent to ask specifically what the campuses have to offer. Because we do have campuses that will offer Spanish, of course, and then some may offer French. And so again, there will be different options on each of our campuses. And the big thing again is with our endorsements, that is a more focused instruction, if you will, on a particular, what we tend to call career that will help with our students in deciding what it is that they may have an interest in.
Ms. Benzer,
Yes, ma'am.
if you can go back, there was a question in the chat about the programs. So question, if a student chooses the foundation program, will they still have a full schedule because it looks like less classes than the other two options?
That is correct. Our students will continue to have a full schedule, and this provides an opportunity for our students to continue to explore because we want to provide those opportunities in terms of different elective courses that our students can take to see what their interest will be in. Because our ultimate goal is for our students to leave us with maybe a certificate for a certification in a particular area, right? And we know those areas will look different, but we're looking at maybe a career and technical training program of sorts. So we do offer a variety of options to meet the needs of our students. And so this is where we want to offer our students that exploration time because we want our students to leave us and be successful in whatever it is that they choose to do. Are there any other questions?
No other questions, Tiffany. That's it.
Okay, and looks like my screen froze a little bit to go to the next slide, so bear with me. My computer is not wanting to move to the next screen. Let me try again. There we go. So again, looking at our foundation, our pathways to foundation and some of the benefits, right? So I know I just went over a lot of information and we understand it is a lot of information. So this is where we highly recommend that you reach out to us, you reach out to your campus counselor and have a meeting with us. We will be offering advisement conferences, and that will start in January and February, depending on the campus and the schedule. And this is the opportunity to definitely ask more specific questions with your student so that we can guide you into number one, knowing what your options are, and then number two, making sure that we have a plan moving forward that will best suit you and your student. because we do have a lot of amazing options in SAISD. We want to make sure that we cover as much as we can with you. So looking at benefits. So again, foundation program, as discussed a little bit earlier, yes, this is our exploration. If your child is going to go more on the foundation route, we, with all our students, want to look at what interest your child has, and we want to prepare them for college, military, or workforce. We know, again, as stated earlier, that things may change, right? Goals. But ultimately, our goal is to make sure our students leave us and be successful, and no matter what it is that they choose to move forward into. And so with that, this is where choosing an endorsement, that's an area of interest, specifically looking at some of our elective courses that we offer. This is where that will guide our students, where ideally we are taking that pathway, that program of study for all 4 years of high school. So again, end result, we're looking at maybe a certification. We are earning some performance acknowledgments also, because when we start looking at a student's transcript as we move into high school, again, the courses that we take in high school, everything is like a resume, if you will, where I take my courses, then it's posted on a transcript, and that's how things are kept in track, if you will. And so with that, the benefits also of graduating under the distinguished program. Yes, you earned that endorsement that is posted on your transcript. So you think of this again as one part of your resume that shows, right, your employer, your college, university, the courses that you took, and what you were able to get an endorsement in. Along with that, if your student is going the distinguished program, which is something we like for all of our students to at least start off on, right? And then we know we have to make adjustments as needed. The benefit of graduating under the distinguished program is that students compete for the top 10% automatic admissions for any Texas university. I will say that, but there is an exception. UT Austin, it's actually top 6% as it gets a little bit more competitive, right? So this is where the attendance, this is where our grades come in, and this is where as counselors, we want to continue to work with you and your student to make sure everyone is as successful as possible. Graduating under the distinguished plan, the benefit, more doors, if you will, or opportunities for colleges as far as the options to apply could be presented as well, and then more financial aid options, specifically looking at the Texas grant. And I think, Betsy, is there a question in the chat?
I think it's just Dr. Balmer asking feedback from participants, not necessarily a question, Tiffany.
Okay. So again, I know this is a lot of information, and this is where if you want to work one-on-one with myself, with Alma, or the counselor assigned to your campus, we highly recommend that you reach out, schedule an appointment, so then that way you have a set amount of time, right, or more time if needed, so that way you don't feel rushed. You can ask whatever questions that you may have. And again, this is our time for planning and making sure that we're working together to make sure the best options are available and being made as far as selections for you and your student. And my computer tends to pause a lot. Are there additional questions?
No questions, Tiffany.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right, so again, a sample of a high school schedule. And we know our campuses sometimes may have a full 8-period schedule. It may look a little different from campus to campus, just depending on the program on the campus as well. So majority of our campuses, though, do have 8 periods in a day, so that, or excuse me, I shouldn't say 8 periods in a day, but you will see 8 courses scheduled for the student, and that may look different in terms of a block schedule, and that's more information that we'll get into like as we get closer to next school year. So what does that look like? We have a sample of a 4-year plan that shows you what a schedule could potentially look like for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. This is just a very generic, because you'll see things like endorsement. And this is where it gets specific as far as the endorsement. So let's say I'm going to go to Highlands High School and I have an interest in the horticulture science. And so then my courses will be more along the agriculture route program of study, specifically with horticulture. So this is where that will look different from campus to campus and what the campus has to offer. So 9th grade, again, English, you'll have a math course. Again, that will look different from student to student, but majority of our students are going to go into Algebra 1. You'll have a science course. Majority of our students are either in environmental systems or biology. And then Avid Money Matters, which is one elective, both of which are going to help our students become better students in respect to providing different strategies to help them be successful in high school. Foreign language, typically we like for our students to start their foreign language credit in 9th grade. We also will, for those students that are coming to high school with foreign language credits, we like for them to continue to earn a bilingual biliteracy endorsement or a performance acknowledgement and continue their foreign language into high school, because we know the benefits of learning it, for some a third language, for some a second language, for some maybe a fourth language, right? And making sure our students are successful in that language. And so again, with that, we're looking at the whole child, we're looking at post-secondary goals, we're looking at how are we making ourselves on our transcript, right? That's part of our resume, more marketable, if you will, when we look at everything that the student and yourself are wanting as a parent for your child. Fine arts, that's going to be anywhere from art, theater arts, band, choir, orchestra, mariachi, and the list can go on depending on the campus. And again, going back to that endorsement, and you'll see with the endorsement, that is all 4 years of high school. I will say some of those courses, as you get into 11th and 12th grade, you'll see here it will take up 2 of the courses, if you will, because they are 2 periods or sometimes 3 periods, depending on the program of study you have selected. Moving on to our next slide. Again, I know this is a lot of information, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, or if any of our guests on would like to interject, please feel free to do so.
We just wanted to add that for students that continue in dual language into the high school, the only difference that there would be here, in addition to, of course, taking Spanish, not necessarily as a foreign language, but as another core class, because Spanish is core to dual language, would be 1 or 2 maximum courses in the core that would be offered in Spanish. So our students could take algebra in Spanish, they could take biology in Spanish, and as the grade levels progress, they would take contents like chemistry and pre-calculus in Spanish. So it's not too much of a difference in the schedules, just that they would be taking advanced Spanish coursework, and they would also be taking 1 or 2 core classes in Spanish as well.
Miss Alde, so there is a question about dual language. Is this for any student that wants to participate in dual language, even if they have not been in a dual language program before?
That is a great question. And so because the beauty of growing up in San Antonio is that Spanish is so key to the way that we live our lives here. So you almost have to live under a rock to not have some exposure to some Spanish, right? If you have Spanish as a heritage language in your home, then it's very possible that your student would be a good candidate for our secondary dual language program. And so you can contact me, you can contact Mr. Nava, who's also on the call, Mr. Rogelio Nava, or Mr. Carlos Gutierrez, who is also on this call, and we can talk to you one-on-one, and we can see what the historical data looks like for your student and to see if they'd be a good fit for dual language. language? Thank you for that question.
Thank you. So using dual language as an example, when we look at endorsements, all our students have the option to focus on a program of study. So dual language, for example, will fall under our arts and humanities. Specifically, if we were to use all of the foreign language courses, right, that are used or that are taken in a dual language program, student would have at least one endorsement would be arts and humanities, with that particular language as their focus. Now, that's not to say that that's the only endorsement that they can earn, because students can continue with another program of study as well. And maybe that is going to be in multidisciplinary studies, right? So looking at taking, specifically in this one, that can be taking more advanced courses such as AP, dual credit, but of course, looking at the core courses as well. And typically, this is where we will see 4 years of English, which is a requirement, but 4 years of math, 4 years of science, 4 years of social studies, and most specifically also the other requirements as well. Now, with the programs of study, we do have a link here, and I'm going to try to go to it. Let's see how my computer will work. And I may have to switch. Can you guys help me out? Can you see the screen or no?
Not yet, Tiffany.
It's still the PowerPoint. Okay, I think I have to stop sharing and go to this screen real quick. So the link is this particular website. And then Miss Alma, can you post that link in the chat for our families? So our career and technical education, this is where our programs of study will lie. When you come to the link, it's going to bring you to this particular page. And on here, you'll see CTE programs of study. There are 14 programs of study that are recognized statewide by the state of Texas. So with that, you'll see agriculture, food and natural resources, architecture and construction, and all of these will fall under what we have heard us call an endorsement. So that's where we go into arts and humanities, that's where we go into STEM, that's where we go to business and industry. So I'm going to click on one of these, for example, and this will then take you to another screen that will show you what we offer in SAISD. And this is what our students are starting to go through as far as interest inventories through school links. So our 8th grade counselors are walking our students through an interest survey so that we can help them, we can better guide as to what program of study may best suit them based off of what they're answering on this interest survey. Here's an example. This is just one example. So architectural design. Jefferson and Lanier offer this particular program of study. This breaks this down in terms of your freshman course. So that's level 1. I say freshman, but typically it's freshman. We could have a sophomore that decides, right, to go into that their sophomore year. Then it'll take you through the next course. So typically that would be your sophomore level, your junior level, and then your senior level. You will notice here on the credit side, it's going to break down 1 credit, which typically means that it will be a 1 period, so 1 spot for your courses on a schedule. And then you'll see for 11th and 12th grade year, it starts to go to a 2 period or 2 credit course or 2 spots in your schedule, right? 2 courses. Here's another example as well. Construction management and inspection. This will tell you that Jefferson, Lanier, and Sam Houston offer this particular program of study. This will fall under, whoops, I just switched it. This will fall under architecture and construction. This is the program of study, excuse me. And then let me go back to agriculture, food and natural resources. So you will see the 2 high schools that offer this particular program of study are going to be Burbank and Highlands. And you will see specifically what courses that they are going to offer. Again, a lot of amazing choices that our students have available to them. I'm going to switch over. So you'll see at the bottom here that there's tabs. And if I click on this arrow, it's going to scroll right, excuse me, and it's going to continue to take you to a lot of different tabs that will show you what is offered on our campuses. So I went all the way over to transportation, distribution, and logistics. You will notice that Lanier is our only campus that offers this particular program of study. So if this is an area of interest, then Lanier High School is the campus that you would want to apply to, or definitely ask more questions to get more information as to what this program has to offer. Amazing facilities on every one of our campuses, great, amazing instructors that are working our students towards receiving a certificate, right, as they get to their junior, senior year. Sometimes some of our freshmen are earning some of those certifications, specifically when we look at some of our business courses. And so let me go into health science. That's another one that tends to be pretty popular with our students. And you will see that Burbank, Edison, Fox Tech, Jefferson, Lanier, and Sam Houston offer this particular program of study. I will say that as we get more into our choice programs, those will become more specialized. And so then you will start to see that as you scroll down, so you'll see like healthcare diagnostics. That one's only offered at Brackenridge. Nursing science. This one I know is being built out when I look at our campuses. So Fox Tech has this particular program of study, and Edison has this program of study as well. The difference will be in terms of the certifications and the colleges that they also work with when they work with dual credit side of courses. And some of these programs are still being built out, so more information will be forthcoming as the campuses start to also recruit.
Tiffany, we do have 2 questions in the chat.
Okay.
The first one is it true if my child is in band, then it will count for PE? Will it also count for the fine art?
That is true. So band, there's several courses like band, ROTC. Those can be, marching band specifically, can be counted towards a PE credit. The way that works is our students are enrolled in it, and then on the back end of things, as long as the student passes, they will receive credit in PE. Right now, the way our system is set up, students are receiving PE credit their first year. So let's say I go in it my freshman year, I stay in it all year, I pass the course, I'm going to receive PE credit, and then yes, I'm going to receive a fine art credit that I can then use towards my program of study, which is my endorsement.
Second question, how do parents get access to the results of the interest inventories?
Definitely reach out to your counselor for your campus. Your student also has access to their School Links account. So you could do one or two things. You can ask your student to pull up their account and they can walk through the assessment with you so that you can see what that looks like and what the results were. Or you can also, during the advisement conference, you can ask the counselor for a copy of that, and or if they can go over that with you so you can see where the interest lies for your student and maybe what the top 3 interests were for your student. I'm going to switch over. Oh, oops. Any other questions on that? Again, I know this is a lot of information. We have the links here. Again, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, reach out to your campus counselor so that we can definitely start having these conversations with you. And so that way you feel also as prepared as possible, right? As we move into more of the promotion party activities when we start working on choice lists and really narrowing down what our final decision will be as far as endorsements. And my computer's frozen again. So bear with me as we move on to the next slide. There we go. So what do we do now, right? 8th grade next steps. We're going to learn more about the 5 endorsements. And again, this is something that we are currently on the 8th grade campuses going through with our students, because we get it. There's a lot of options, a lot of amazing opportunities and options for our students, but we want to make sure they have a really great understanding of what is available to them. And that is what our counselors are also doing right now. They are taking the school links inventory to discover what their areas of interest are. They're having those conversations not only with their counselor, but also with some of their teachers. And teachers are also asking, right, and helping guide our students into what's available in our district. The opportunity to explore different careers. So when we look at school links, this is also another, it is a college readiness, career readiness, if you will, and military readiness platform where it will give our students information about different careers and what it takes to get to those careers, right? So looking at maybe some soft skills, communication skills, and most importantly, yes, what kind of training or background you would need for that particular career. Because we know not every career is going to require a 4-year university. And this is where what we want our students to know, like when we select our endorsements, we have something for all of our students, and we want to make sure our students are successful in whatever they choose, especially looking at post-secondary goals. And then the last one is learn about pathways available at high school and with the counselor's help select a pathway. So yes, we do have our students select that pathway, and that's part of the finale of the endorsement conference, which is going to be held in the February, middle to late January, February timeframe, where our 8th graders are working with their counselor and high school counselors to select the best choice for them. And you as a parent are invited to these conferences as well. We highly recommend that you definitely join us for these conferences. And if for whatever reason you are unable to, but you would like to schedule a different time, please reach out to your campus counselor and they will work with your schedule to make sure that you receive the information as well. Again, that's us working together to make sure that everyone is making the best choice, right, for your child. Is there a question in the chat?
No question, Tiffany. It was just in reference to the dual language flyer. I'm trying to open that.
Okay. So next steps with our personal graduation plan. We have a personal graduation plan that very similar to what we saw on several slides back, where we look at 4 years and specifically the program of study. You've heard me reference the advisement conferences, which are typically January, February. This is where we will sit down with the student and review what their interest inventory looked like from School Links, how they ranked their interests, right, as far as their first choice, their second choice, and their third choice, looking at the options in our district to see what will be an area of interest for them, and if that's the campus that they are going to, number one, apply to, if it's a choice school, or if it's their zoned campus, making sure that that program of study is offered there. If it's not, then what are our next steps if we have to go a different route, right? And maybe that's a transfer that Dr. Baumer referenced earlier in today's presentation. So we are selecting the endorsement in our advisement conferences, and we are completing a choice slip, the course selection, so that a way you know what courses your student will be taking in 9th grade. It's not going to be a set, this is your schedule, but it is the courses that you should see on your child's schedule. And that again is part of the advisement conference, and that is typically held in January, February. Again, I know this is a lot of information. we are opening up the floor for questions. Please feel free to also post in the chat. If you would like to, as I stated earlier, if you'd like to schedule an appointment with myself, my name is Tiffany Benzer, and I will actually show you our contact information. You can call us at 554-2580, or you can email us at schoolcounselors@sasd.net. We will be more than happy to sit down and speak with you and really go over the options. Please feel free to reach out to your campus counselor as well. If you need us to assist you with connecting to the campus counselor, please feel free to call us at 210-554-2580. We will be more than happy to set that up as well. And then we did also list our Student Disability Services Department. Because our transitions, our promotion parties are for all of our students, and we know different questions come up, and we want to make sure that we are able to answer any of the questions that you may have.